in LA, still struggling with a little bit of the sinus issue, but going to be heading back up to Santa Barbara and pick up some medication on the way. So hopefully my eyes won't be so puffy, and we'll be back to normal soon. I hope you guys had a good night. I was kind of frustrated. I had a lot of really good calls for a slate. Like I played a lot of Anthony Davis. I played a ton of Westbrook. I had like 40. Actually, I might have had more than that of Westbrook, 40+%. Um, and it was a little frustrating. I got a lot of the cheap pieces right and some of them wrong, and it just didn't quite get the right mix to win a tournament. But not a terrible night. Just was a little, could have done a few things a little bit differently. Maybe gotten there. I'm going to share my window, and we're going to go through game by game just as a first look. There's still a lot of news to come out today, so we're going to have to wait until later to really be too accurate. I will be live at 6. Sheets is going to be gone for a few days. Hope he has a great time. So we'll be covering everything later. But here we go for now. We're just going to take a quick look game by game. Toronto on the back-to-back after the big win against Milwaukee last night. Wow. Toronto just smoked Milwaukee. I mean, that was kind of surprising. Milwaukee doesn't look right at all to me. Anyway, on to this game. So, you've got it as a 6-point spread on SaberSim. In reality, I think it's actually 7 by Philly. We'll see what it ends up at later today. Assuming everybody plays for Toronto, I have everybody rated to sort of be a decent play, but nobody you need to have. I do think it's interesting that no one seems to want to play. It looks like, you're getting low ownership on Podol after one of the best games he's had in a while. I think that's okay. I think my preference, if I was going here, would be just to go back to the same guy I've ridden all year. Scotty Barnes has been over 45 fantasy points in every game this season and never gets owned. So I only ended up with like a couple percent of him yesterday, but I wouldn't mind getting the Scotty Barnes and OG as my favorites, followed by Schroeder, Podol, and Siakam, probably basically in that order. I don't mind if you want to bump Siakam up. It's just, for me, not my favorite. Kelly Oubre is going to show up as a reasonably good play at 5,800. I think that's fine. D'Anthony Melton, Tyrese Maxey, Embiid, and that with the guys in that rate, like Embiid, Melton at 5,500 feels like a really reasonable price. Embiid as a spend up certainly makes sense on paper. Whether or not you can get to him in a comfortable way is up to you. And then you can get the really low ownership on Maxey, which is kind of interesting. So nobody really to prioritize for me fully, but I think that one of Melton or Oubre, I think you're playing one of those guys probably in a good portion of your lineups. That's the way I would sort of divide that one up. Jalen Duren, questionable again tonight, assuming that he plays on the back-to-back. He missed last night. Then basically that's going to leave Detroit with a bunch of guys who I have as meh. Again, Killian Hayes, meh. Asar Thompson, they brought the price up. Love the kid, but the price is getting high. Isaiah Stewart just hasn't gotten there all year. I don't know why we need to keep playing. Even without Duren yesterday, couldn't get there. So Duren is probably your best bet along with Killian Hayes, but everybody is sort of rating as a meh to me. But it's a first look. We'll see who's actually in later, and we'll have a much better feel. Speaking of which, we've had Brandon Ingram out late the last couple of games. Kind of feels like he might be out again, but assuming that he does play, I think he's fine. And I think McCollum is still in play, as is Joval at their prices in a pretty decent matchup. If Brandon Ingram is out, I will probably end up finding a way to try to stack this game, playing at least McCollum and obviously our leader of the free world, as Sheets would say, Jordan Hawkins. But McCollum, Hawkins, picking one of Zion or Joval, and you could even mix in some Herb Jones, run it back with Killian at a cheap price with Duren. Again, I'm not overly excited, but as a game stack, if it would make it feel like this game would stay close. If we do lose Ingram, I will revisit this one as a potential game stack that I would look at tonight. Moving over to the Orlando side of things, Orlando at Utah. Orlando just has so many mouths to feed, so everybody looks like a good play for their price, and they're all like totally fine. If I had to side with anyone, I'd go for Franz Wagner. I promise you, by the end of the day, he will not be 20% owned. It's going to be a lot lower than that. Wendell Carter would probably be my second favorite, followed by Paolo, and then Jalen Suggs. But you could really mix it up any which way. It does feel like you're sort of guessing every night with Orlando. One of these days, Cole Anthony is going to win you a tournament. That's not another one you could consider. And we'll see how many minutes they start letting Isaac play. If Isaac starts playing like 15 minutes and he's 3,400, 15, 16 minutes, I'm probably going to start taking some shots on him as a cheap play, especially on these shorter slates. I think you're going to have Utah as being one of the higher owned teams tonight, back to back. We've got some guys not sure if we're sitting or not. We'll get a better feel for it later today. But the price on Collins and the price on Clarkson are a little too good to ignore. So I think those are where you start from. I think THT would be the next guy for me, and then Lauri Markkanen, always low on these small slates, might be worth taking a shot on the 9K Lauri Markkanen. We've seen him pay off that price over and over again, and people aren't going to be doing it. I also think Sexton, which he put up a big game last night. I think he'd be an interesting pivot off of the Clarkson and the Tuckers if you wanted to go that direction. Not getting to any Chris Dunn today, but all right, San Antonio side of things. I think Sohan's a tremendous play tonight. I think that he will probably end up as a core play for me. I know he's had a couple of down, hasn't been quite as good as maybe we thought he'd be consistency wise, but I'm still going to take some shots there. I think Chetty Osman is a guy you can gamble on for a cheap play, but the main plays here are going to be Sohan, Vassell for me, Keldon Johnson, and then Wembanyama. I might bump Wembanyama up a little bit higher if I believe this game is going to stay close. But Sohan is my favorite for sure. On the other side, you have Okogie and Nurkic. It's really hard to argue against these guys. We've seen this matchup, and then I think also look, you have a short slate. Kevin Durant is going to be very low owned, but we're expecting Booker back. Really hard to know how to I don't think you're going to play Kevin Durant if Booker's back, obviously. I actually think Booker is in play, but I'm probably going to still side with the Nurkic-Okogie side of things. So a lot to figure out. It's early in the day. I do like doing these videos better when I'm doing them with sheets because it's a lot easier to have the back and forth and talk about different possibilities. But we like to leave you guys with at least something, even on these short slates. So wanted to do just a little intro for you. If you don't mind giving us the like, the thumbs up, we really appreciate it. I'll have much more concrete stuff later. I'll have all my content, all my priority plays, my early builds, my exposures, and all that stuff out a little bit later, as well as my bets of the day. And just a reminder, the bets have been on fire this season. So I suggest you guys come on board and check out what we have at TrueDFS, 25% off the first month with promo code BobbyFi NBA. And good luck to everybody out there today. I hope to see you guys at the top of the leaderboards, and I will see you live at 6 for basketball, live at 7 Eastern for football. And then I'm recording with Rody for Sunday. So busy night for the DFS streets, but it's going to be a fun one. So good luck, everybody, and we'll see you at the top of the